Hey guys, today I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of the VuePilot product. We're going to go a little bit over how it works and step through some of the key pieces of functionality of the product. So first of all, we're going to log into a blank account here. We'll head over to the machine section and we'll need to activate a machine first. So there's two components to the VuePilot product. That is the player, that is a piece of software that you can install on whatever machine you want. It can be a Windows, Linux, Mac, or a Raspberry Pi device. And then there's the dashboard, the API, which is what we're looking at here. Essentially, you install the software on any device you want, and that'll be connected to the screens you want to display information on, and then you can control it from the dashboard here. So I've already got a version installed here on my local machine. It's ready to go. So let's generate an activation code. We're going to activate the software. Cool. Now we're online. So at this point here, we don't really need to do anything else with this software. It's online and it's ready to take commands. There are some basic controls with the software. You can play around with rotations and update screen configuration from here. But for the most part, you can also do this all from the dashboard. This just happens to be if you're in front of this software, you can also use this. But for this demo, we're going to move back to the dashboard and show you from here. So we refresh this, we can see, okay, our machine is now online. We can click into this, and this will take us to the machine management page. So this is where you can control what's being displayed, the content that goes on your screens, and basically you can manage that machine that's being connected. So you've got your regular controls. You can start, stop, pause, the rotations that are playing on that screen. We'll go over what a rotation is soon, but essentially it's just a playlist of the content you wish to be displaying on the screen. We can see here that this is a representation of the attached screens. So from here we can say I've got two screens attached to this machine. There's a left and a right screen, and here we can give them a label, so we can call them left screen, right screen, etc. And we can designate what rotations we want to go on which screen. Now down here, the hijack panel is the tool for immediately showing content on these screens. So if you can imagine, you maybe want to display a dashboard or an alert or some sort of information right now, and you don't want to have to, slide that into a rotation and wait for it to appear. You just want to take over that screen right now. You can do this with the hijack panel. So we'll do a little demonstration here. Remember, we've got the software running and it's running in the background here. So what I can do is say I can pick one of the apps that we have here. We'll cover what apps are in a moment. For the time being, just know that these are essentially a pre-built web application that we can use to display content. So let's just say we want to display a weather forecast real quick. Right, so we can see here that we're able to take over this screen. But if we wanted to display like a custom dashboard or one of our own websites, well, we can do that too. We can simply change this to URL and we can enter whatever dashboard URL we want. In this case, we'll just use CNN for an example. And you click hijack and you can see it's just going to load it. So under the covers, VuePilot works like a remote control browser. So anything that you have a URL for, anything that you display on a browser, you can display it in VuePilot. And likewise, how the hijack functionality works, over here we can set whatever rotations we want to display on either screen. So in this case here, this video is being recorded on the left-hand screen. We can call it left screen. We'll assign it the example rotation. We'll save it. And if we switch over to our software, we can see that it has been updated remotely. And now we've got control. So we can say start. Right? And now our example rotation will start on this screen. Rotations are at the core of the VuePilot product. A rotation is essentially a playlist that controls what displays on the screen and for how long. Take, for example, this rotation here. It's consisting of a combination of regular websites and digital signage apps. The digital signage apps are essentially pre-built websites that give you a stylized display of news feeds, announcements, and weather, etc. But you can display any website you want, be it your reports or dashboards, by just simply entering the URL into the line here. You can create multiple rotations for different departments and different screens. Different rotations can be assigned to different screens and different screens associated with different machines. So take, for example, if we wanted to create a news rotation and we wanted to display some of our news digital signage apps, we can click the app button. Maybe we say top news stories, sports news, and the Sky News live stream. We can preview what this looks like by clicking the preview button next to it. So at this point, you might be wondering, okay, so how do I add a dashboard or a report that requires us to log into the website? Right, so let's use the VuePilot dashboard as an example here. We'll move it to the top and we'll flick over to our software here. Okay, now we can see if we preview this page, you can see it's requiring a login. This is it's loading the website within the VuePilot software. Right, so now if you've supplied the URL to a dashboard or report, you're going to see the same thing. But remember, this is just like a browser. It works the same way. It retains cookies and authentication information across sessions. So what we can do is we can just log in like we normally would. Then close this window, and now the authentication information is stored, just like a regular browser. If we click preview again here, we can see that it's logged back in again. If we flick back to our dashboard, go to our machines and just test this. So we'll assign the news rotation back to our screen. Now if we start the rotation, which is going to start the software, you can see it logs into the dashboard. Apps are a super easy way for you to display styled content on your screens with just a few clicks. So what do we mean by that? Well, take for example, if you want to make a company announcement, display some news feeds, maybe a weather forecast, latest promotional videos, or maybe you want to put up some sort of latest branding or corporate imagery. Let's take an example here. Let's say we want to make a company-wide announcement about the upcoming Christmas party. So we can create a new announcement using the announcement app. Let's just name it Christmas party. We will give it some text. And we can click Save to preview this. At this point, it looks a little boring because we're just using a solid background color. So what we might do is give this an image as a background. We can upload our own image here using the Media Manager, or we can use the image search and search for a keyword. So we'll just search for Christmas here, pick one of these images, and we can save to preview again. Right, now we can further style this by perhaps turning off this text backing, and we can pick a text color. Let's just make it a dark gray. Right, so we can preview this to see how it will look on a full screen display. It looks good, we're happy with that. So at this point now, we're done. We're ready to apply this to our screens, add it to a rotation, and it will be immediately picked up on the next rotation on those machines displaying on those screens. We can simply do that by clicking Add to Rotation, and maybe we have Screens in a common area displaying common area rotation or a foyer rotation. It's really up to you how you decide to display these. For example here. Let's say, for example, we have a screen in the foyer of our building and we'd like to display some information and some corporate branding in the front of our building. How about we do this? Okay, so we can use the image app here. Give it a name of branding. We'll upload our company logo. We'll select it. You can see, we can preview this, see how it will look full screen. Now we can add it to our foyer rotation. Now this rotation here would be assigned to the machine or screen that's in our foyer, and would it be automatically picked up on the next rotation. So we can view this rotation now. At this point, there's only one thing here. It's our branding and the default example. We can get rid of that. And let's just say maybe we'll add something a bit more interesting, some news, maybe the weather, and the time and date. So at this point, we've got an interesting rotation going. We can preview these by clicking the little preview button next to it. We can see exactly what's going to be shown on this screen. Each of these have got a rotation interval of 30 seconds. And we can easily add and remove more if we wish. There are a number of apps you can choose from for different purposes. As we've seen, we can make announcements, there are news headlines, weather forecasts, we can display videos and images, display clocks and date and time. We have a table app that is useful for things like timetables and speaker schedules if you host things like meetups, or possibly to display on screens in front of boardrooms and meeting rooms. A simple tabular format, you can enter in information to be displayed for people walking past. We have YouTube app, which is useful for displaying, obviously, like your company branding, promotional videos, but you can also display things like live streams from many maybe news providers like Sky News, CNN provide live streams in YouTube. You can quite easily display that with the YouTube app. We have a HTML app, which, if none of these suit your purposes, you can actually just input your own HTML and have it displayed on screen. Make it totally customizable. VuePilot offers multi-user functionality. That is, that you can invite people from other teams and other departments to manage the screens and rotations on your account. When adding new people to your account, you can make them either an admin or a member. The only difference between the two is that admins have the ability to add and remove users and also edit the billing details. When adding a user, you can add an existing user, that is someone who already has a VuePilot account, or you can create entirely new users and onboard them from the online dashboard here yourself.